the hair sheep industry has grown considerably. We recently secured some sale barn data from the local sale barn here in town, Producers Livestock, and looking at those numbers, we've sold more hair sheep through that auction since 2011 than we have wool lambs. So the market has changed considerably in the last several years. And some of the things we found by looking at that data, we get asked a lot, what are the differences between hair lamb prices and wool lamb prices, and we specifically went to the sale barn to ask for them to give us some data to let us look at so we could actually analyze those differences, and we found some interesting things. One of the things we found of particular interest was in lot size. Wool lamb producers will be compensated for putting together larger lots of uniform lambs. The bigger the lot size, the higher the price they get for those. We don't see that same advantage for the hair sheep. I think their market is segmented enough, heterogeneous if you want to call it that, that those buyers can't necessarily buy large lots because they're actually filling several very specific orders in their slaughter market, I guess we'll call it. Obviously, for any lamb, the higher the greater the weight, the price per pound starts to decrease, and that's for any livestock species. That's typically the case. But what we saw on the hair sheep, though, is that as the animals get bigger, that discount relative to wool sheep actually increases. So that tells us a couple things. On a 70 to 100 pound wool lamb, there's actually two separate markets bidding for those lambs. They can just as easily go to a terminal market somewhere, or a slaughter market somewhere, or they can they're capable of being fed to even greater weights, and they do well in a feedlot. So they've also got order buyers that are bidding on them to put them into a feedlot. So they've got more competition. They seem to get a considerably better price than the same sized 70 to 100 pound hair lamb, which basically is just being bid on by people for the slaughter market. There's basically two segments of the lamb consuming public. There's some that eat very little lamb, and then there's the segment that eats quite a bit of lamb on a regular basis. And the per capita consumption is still right around a half a pound per person per year. But again, the people that do eat lamb eat quite a bit of it, and I'm going to say that's largely the ethnic markets. Certainly on both coasts, but we're seeing more developing markets in the interior of the U.S. as well. As far as the price per pound, both animals probably bring about the best price per pound in that 50-55 pound range, and then the price starts to decrease as those animals get heavier. But again, as they get heavier, the price falls off quite a bit quicker for the hair sheep. So the lighter ones, there seems to be a market preference for the lighter hair sheep relative to the wool lambs. As far as when, both species, the hair sheep and the wool sheep, display that seasonal pattern where we see the sharp drop off in June, July, and August. When the seasonality of our breeding system means that's when we're bringing most of the lambs to town to market. We oversupply the market in that pretty narrow window, and prices decrease as a result. So anything. We also understand that we've maybe got a little more flexibility, a little less seasonality of the breeding of the hair sheep, so we might be able to adjust our breeding season to either produce them a little bit earlier, lamb them a little bit earlier, and thus wean them a little earlier, and maybe get them marketed before that price really falls off, or push our breeding season forward so we don't have to, so we can maybe market them a little bit later. We seem to have a little bit more flexibility with the hair sheep in their breeding cycles. Mother Nature largely dictates when we calve in this part of the country, when there's green forage available for them, and that's why we lamb when we do. So there's plenty of nutrition for those nursing mothers out there. And that kind of largely impacts when we're able to wean and market lambs.